Good morning and welcome to Thursday morning at Bethany Baptist Church. My name is Pastor Rick, and I hope that on this Christmas Eve day this finds you well. But if it doesn't, I want to speak to you today. For those who are feeling some kind of heaviness in the season, of struggle, of sadness, of grieving, of hardships, I think a lot of us might be experiencing those kind of feelings this year. Let's put our cards on the table and just say, hey, it's been one heck of a year, hasn't it? It's been tough on everyone. And there might have been moments this year where you might have felt some kind of a despair, a sense of hopelessness. So this morning I want to take us to the doorsteps of another uncertain time in American history. Another Christmas. It was a time of great despair, a time when our country was not only ripped apart by politics and ideologies, but also a bloody war. The year was 1863. And I want you to, just in your mind's eye this morning, head to Cambridge, Massachusetts in the late 1800s. You know, that old college town, and where in that day there lived a retired literary professor by the name of Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. And we know him as the famed American poet. Longfellow, perhaps like many in his day, had much tragedy in his life. His first wife had died during the birth of their first child. His second wife, Fanny, after bearing him 6 children, died in a tragic accident where her dress had caught on fire, and Henry was awoken from a nap that he was sleeping and discovered his wife on fire and tried to extinguish the flames with a rug, and then he threw his body upon her. It was too late. She suffered very severe burns, and Henry himself also suffered severe burns, and she died the next day, and he was not even able to attend his own wife's funeral because of it. Because of the burns, growing that beard that we so associate with the image of Longfellow, he did that to cover the burns on his face. At times he feared that he would be sent to an asylum on account of his grief. We can all imagine. And then the Civil War broke out. And in March of 1863, his eldest son Charles, at 18 years old, unbeknownst to the whole family, boarded a train for Washington, D.C. to join the Union Army in the conflict. When he arrived, he sought to enlist as a private with the 1st Massachusetts Artillery. The captain wrote to Henry and his dad for written permission for Charlie to become a soldier, and he reluctantly granted him permission. He eventually became 2nd lieutenant in the 1st Massachusetts Cavalry, but soon he fell ill with camp fever and had to be sent home to recover for several months. But because of that illness, he missed the bloodiest battle of the Civil War, Gettysburg. But he eventually did rejoin his unit. However, on December 1st, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow was dying alone at his home when a telegram arrived with the news that his son had been severely wounded. A few days before, while involved with a skirmish, Charlie had been shot through the left shoulder with a bullet exiting under his right shoulder blade. It had traveled across his back and nicked his spine. It would be later found out that Charlie had avoided being paralyzed by less than an inch. He was transported to a field hospital, and then he was sent to Washington. And Charlie's father and younger brother immediately set out for Washington to meet him. They got there on December 3rd, and Charlie arrived by train on December 5th. Longfellow was alarmed when informed by the army surgeon that his son's wound was very serious and that paralysis might ensue. However, 3 surgeons gave him a more favorable report that evening, suggesting a recovery that would require him to be long in healing, at least 6 months. Now, with father and son back in Cambridge, that December 25th, 1863, Longfellow, nursing his nearly paralyzed son back to health, wrote a poem seeking to capture the dissonance in his own heart and the world that he observed around him on Christmas. It wasn't necessarily a happy poem. He heard Christmas bells ringing on December 25th in Cambridge, and he heard the singing of carolers singing peace on earth, but he also observed the world of injustice and the violence that seemed to mock the truthfulness of this hope. It seems like we see all that around us today, don't we? Injustice and violence. political unrest. It seems to mock the truth of peace on earth. Henry had despaired because of his circumstances. They were ugly times. There seemed to be little hope in 1863 for his country that was so divided, and for his own life. And so he wrote these words in the middle of his despair. And as I read them, hear them for how Longfellow would have felt as he wrote them that dark Christmas day. I heard the bells on Christmas Day, their old familiar carols play, and loud and sweet the words repeat of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And thought, as the day had come, the belfries of all Christendom had rolled along the unbroken song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Till ringing, singing on its way, the road revolved from night to day, a voice, a chime, a chant sublime of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Then from each black, accursed mouth, the cannon thundered in the south, and with the sound the carols drowned of peace on earth, goodwill to men. It was as if an earthquake rent the hearthstones of a continent, and made forlorn the households born of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And in despair, I bowed my head. There is no peace on earth, I said, for hate is strong and mocks the song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Isn't that the truth sometimes? Doesn't it feel like the hate all around us drowns out the bells of peace? Doesn't it feel like the enemy has won, that hate mocks the song of the gospel? Don't you step into Longfellow's shoes here and sense the despair? Or perhaps you don't even need to do this. Maybe this is where you are at today. I encourage you to also hear the end of this poem, because it doesn't end in despair, and it doesn't have to for you today. For Longfellow writes, then pealed the bells more loud and deep. God is not dead, nor doth he sleep. The wrong shall fail, the right prevail, with peace on earth, goodwill to men. The gospel is stronger than all our despair. Justice will prevail. There will one day be peace that will fill the whole earth, just as the knowledge of God will fill the whole earth. And for this reason, Longfellow did not end his life in despair. And for this reason, we can have hope too. As we read from Paul in 2 Corinthians 4, we do not lose heart. Though our outer self is wasting away, our inner self is being renewed day by day. For this light, momentary affliction is preparing for us an eternal weight of glory that is beyond all comparison. So wherever you are, in whatever state of mind that you find yourself on this Christmas day, this Christmas Eve, know that what God is preparing for you is beyond anything that you can compare to within your sight today. Anything that you've witnessed, any good towards any evil. It's beyond all comparison. God is not dead, nor doth he sleep. The wrong shall fail, the right prevail, with peace on earth, goodwill to men. Let us all hold on to that hope this Christmas day.
Their old familiar carols play, and wild and sweet the words repeat of peace on earth, goodwill to men. I thought how as the day had come, the belfries of all Christendom had rolled along the broken song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. bowed my head. There is no peace on earth, I said, for hate is strong and mocks the song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Then pealed the bells more loud and deep. God is not dead, nor doth he sleep. Then pealed the bells more loud and deep. God is not dead, nor doth he sleep. The wrong shall fail, the right prevail, with peace on earth, goodwill to men. The wrong shall fail, the right prevail, with peace on earth, goodwill to men. Oh, hear the bells, for still they sing goodwill to men, on earth be peace.